Hello and welcome to our Newborn Photography Safety Series brought to you by Stand-In Baby. My name is Sandra Moffat, and in an effort to make sure that we bring you all the information and facts relating to newborn safety, joining me throughout this series is well-respected neonatal nurse Anne-Marie Fieri, who will be advising us on the essentials to safely working with newborns in a studio environment. In this tutorial, we're going to talk about safety issues with newborn photography. But before we start, I'd like to say that if you are unsure about anything you hear during this series, please seek advice from a medical practitioner near you and get the answers that you need. If you have been given information from other sources, make sure it's a reliable source because the health and well-being of our clients should always be put first. In this tutorial, we are going to be discussing working with props. We will be covering what to look out for as well as what to avoid. Let's take a look. When using a prop, foremost in your mind should be baby safety and protecting a baby. Using this prop, which is again one of my favourite props, what do you suggest?
Sandra, this is beautiful and I love it. So one of the first things that I do notice about this is that it's actually, you can wipe it over, you can wash it. It's been lacquered, varnished, so, it is quite a safe prop. The other thing that I notice is that, under SIB, you've got a backdrop. So, bearing in mind that the backdrops have always got, one backdrop to one baby, this is a washable backdrop as well. So you're not, if a baby has come in and is spilled or is weed, you do have the ability to be able to wash it. Babies are really very strong on their lower limbs, so their legs, and I don't know if you've noticed that babies are really good at pushing out. So one of the things with this prop, even though you do have the backdrop coming over the head, if you didn't have that backdrop coming over the head and the baby was to project itself, with its little feet, they could actually bang their head.
Absolutely, and that sound even is sort of like
awful.
Makes you I would hate for that to be a real baby for sure. So definitely, I guess, and maybe having a support person who's right there, like a parent or whoever, who can, if it looks like they're sort of wiggling a bit, to quickly come in and put their hand down, because definitely don't want it to sort of hit its head there.
Support person would be perfect. Just come down, one hand on the back and one hand on the little bottom, and just to contain them until they've resettled.
Actually, that's something I did want to speak to you about as well, and that is, how should a support person be? Because I've seen it done a few ways. In my opinion, like, they should be right there ready to put both hands on, but I've also seen some photographers who would prefer to have their backs to the baby to keep their body sort of out of the way, and then come in sort of like this. What would you recommend?
That looks really awkward. It looks really uncomfortable. And, one of the big things for me is, you do not turn your back on the ocean. Yeah. So, you always need to be there, but you need to be mindful too of your own safety, and you don't want to be twisting and injure your back as well.
Very true.
Or your knee. So, you just need to be for the health and safety of your support person or your spotter, as well as for the newborn. You just need to be in the most, comfortable position.
So I guess if we want to get rid of the legs from the shot, tuck them behind or tuck them off to the side. Yes. So as long as we can get both hands and get in there when we need to, that's what we're looking for?
I think so, Sandra. I think, you need to be safe as well. You don't want to be twisting, you don't want to hurt your knees, you don't want to hurt your back. And you just need to get to the baby as quick as you possibly can. And if you've got your back to the baby or your legs away from the baby, you're not going to be able to do that. So I think the way that you're sitting at the moment is perfect.
I guess, and the other thing that I did want to mention, and because this does happen a lot in my studio, parents are very excited about the shoot as it's happening. So sometimes their minds will wander and they'll be like looking at the camera and their focus will come away from the job at hand, which is ensuring that the baby is not moving and looking for cues. I guess I would advise that, if the parent is more looking in the direction of the camera and not paying attention, to just remind them, no, if you could just keep your eye on the baby and the safety, because they can startle at any time. It's the whole point. They can move out of nowhere. If they are a bit distracted, just maybe a small reminder of to look in the right direction.
And it does. It just needs that gentle reminder. Yeah. The startle reflex that the babies have, and they have that until they're about 4 months old. Right. Any noise, and it just makes them startle. Right. And and they can fling their arms and legs out, and they can bang themselves. But the way that Sib is positioned at the moment, she's got good padding and everything around here.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well, let's grab the next prop.
Okay.
So this is one of our newborn nests that we use in our studio. It's from Island Vine Designs. I actually love this piece and I use it quite a lot. I also know a lot of other photographers who have it and use it a lot as well.
Sandra, this one concerns me a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No,
I think one of the things is it's not washable. You possibly could wipe it over, but you know, if you had a baby that did a big spit up of milk, it would be really difficult to wipe this over. I do notice that, you know, Sib is nested in the backdrop, and again, you know, we've just got to make sure that that's washable. One of the big things that does concern me though is the fact that babies could possibly, through the startle reflex, really hurt themselves. Yeah. And I think you would really need to have a baby that was very, very settled before you put them into the nest. So whether it was a baby that had just been fed, yeah. Or you know, you really knew was quite sound asleep, yes. And quite settled, and then you could put the baby in. Again, I would ask that the parent or the spotter doesn't move too far away, yes. Because the minute the babies start to move, you can see we've got some quite sharp objects here, and you know, if the baby startled and came out, you know, they could have a soft tissue injury, they could bruise, or you know, they could scratch their skin. With this prop, it might be really nice to maybe wrap the baby, because then it could be more contained and and less chance of a startle reflex. Perfect. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll get a baby wrapped, and you can sort of show me what you think of that. Sure. All right, so now we have a baby in here that's wrapped. How do you feel about this environment now? So much safer.
Oh, good.
Isn't it, Sandra?
Yeah.
Lovely. And you know, it's quite unusual to have a baby in a bird's nest.
Absolutely.
But yes. You know, now at least when the baby, you know, does startle, we've actually got less chance of it startling because, you know, he is swaddled, he feels contained, much safer. And you can see if the baby does try to startle, he's contained within the swaddle.
So wrapping's good.
Wrapping is good.
Awesome. Let's go with that.
Again, you've got your back prop, you know, with the head and everything, and you've got your spotter or your parent very close by.
Always. Yep. Excellent. All right. Well, let's move on to our next prop that I have for you.
Great.
So this is our crate. It is old. It's not new. What are your thoughts on it?
I love it. Again, one of my first things, Sandra, was I actually had a look to see how stable it was, but this one is very stable. What have you done to make it so stable?
Well, actually, what we have is we've put some weights into it.
I love it.
So I actually do think that, and especially if you were going to work with siblings and whatnot, not that you'd have the baby there, but weights, just to stable or anything that's top heavy, absolutely. So just 1 or 2 weights in the bottom to help ground it,
The fact also that you haven't got the nest really high, so the baby can't, you know, is not out of the box and can't tip over. And you know, is really well supported and quite nested as well. You know, you would need a parent or a spotter again because of the startle reflex. You know, you've still got some really hard surfaces here, and there's a potential for a splinter or, you know, a soft tissue injury, a scratch.
So I guess you could wrap or definitely again keep the spotter close by. And you know, I'm not sure if we touched on it before, but again, if the mum's just had a cesarean or whatever, ask dad to come and help for sure if you don't have an assistant on hand. How
would you take a photograph in this? Would you go from above or would you tip the baby?
That's a great question. I do photograph from above and with the strap over my neck. If you were to prop the baby up or whatnot, I guess there would be that chance of it falling out.
But also the chin coming down on the chest as well and compromising the airway.
That's right. Airway, definitely hadn't thought about that because there's really no restrictions in circulation sort of.
No, it's a lovely pose.
Yeah, okay, great.
Well done.
Thank you. If you'd like to know anything else about working with props, or if you'd like to see some of our other videos, make sure you follow us on YouTube.